Hello everybody, Average Gamer here. So today I wanted to do a different video for Supreme Ruler Ultimate. Um, I've been feeling really sick today, so being able to do much for too long has been it's kind of hard because I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep or pass out. So long story short, this is gonna be the Supreme Ruler Ultimate video for today. um, this is actually more of a wish list video. The reason why I'm doing this is because recently there's been some rumors about Superpower 3 coming out and all that stuff, and there's been talks about, well, what's going to happen next for Supreme Ruler Ultimate. Is there going to be more patches? Is there going to be another Supreme Ruler Ultimate? The game, like, what's next on the horizon? Maybe paid DLC, what have you. So, what I thought I would do in this episode is something little, what I like to call my wish list. My wish list for Superpower, or for Supreme Ruler Ultimate 2, we'll say. First thing, the ability to actually get peace with someone. The ability to declare war for certain territories. And those territories only. So if I capture the territory, the war ends. The ability to actually utilize clandestine operations, such as special forces in another country when not at war. Being able to put those troops in there to help destabilize said country. Have the ability to diplo-annex a territory from another country or another country. I'll use the Crimea as an example. So recently in our lives, Russia has literally diplo-annexed Crimea after Crimea declared independence. Some people think legally. Well, some people say legally. Well, won't get into that. From Ukraine. And then Russia said, okay, well, now you're part of us because you guys voted to join us. I would like to do that in this country. Like, say, for example, as China, or even as Vietnam, right? There is this island off the coast of China, right here. I want it because it's got rubber on it. And a little bit of, some other stuff, some, timber and things like that. And, there's some people on there. So I send some troops over, special forces troops. And they go there and they help destabilize. They help create an independence movement. That independence movement then declares their independence. And once they declare independence, because I supported them, I have the ability to immediately offer them annexation. Basically to take them in and suck their country into mine. I would like to do that. That would be something interesting in my eyes to do. I would like the ability to also purchase territory. So either, now, it'll be limited, right? Like, you can't purchase towns and cities. Like, nowadays, if the U.S. came to Canada and said, hey, we want to buy Vancouver from you, we'll give you X amounts of trillions of dollars for it, the country's going to turn around and start laughing at them and say, no, those are Canadian citizens. You can't just buy all their stuff from them and then just say it's part of the U.S. You can't do that. But if they came to us and said, hey, listen, there is a 200 square hectare area of trees and boreal forest bordering bordering our territories. So say, for example, up here somewhere, there's this area up here, we'll say, these squares here. We wouldn't mind buying those off you because there's natural resources that we could utilize because we're already utilizing them on our side of the border. Say there's trees and whatever, like timber and oil and whatever. But and here's the deal. We would like to buy that territory from you in exchange for troops, money. You can give them just about anything. Exchange territory for territory. So be like, here's the deal. We will give you, we want this territory here to kind of, wrap this up to make it more square. In the process, we'll give you, this territory over here. And we'll give you, some of this territory up here, for example. You can exchange territories, things like that. I would love to see that. I would also see when it comes to, for example, world markets. Markups, prices, things like that. I would like to see some more feedback as to how I'm doing. So, for example, if I set it to say, I want you to be 5% above the market price. If the market price goes up, it should stay at that 5% markup. Or if it goes down, go down, but still stay at 5% markup. I would like to see something like that instead of it just staying at the actual numerical value that I set. I would like to see more feedback into the economy. Actual bar graphs that I can pull up, showing me where my actual threshold is for making money, losing money on a set resource, for example. I would like to see the average, not just the GDP, but how much it's actually costing me to build and run every single thing. So it pops up and says, hey, just so you know, the output of this facility here in Quebec will say this facility right here is at 100%. So it's doing the full 22,000, the full 22,000. It's costing you max. It's giving you the max amount of industry goods. It's giving you everything it can. But then, you go to say this one, right? And it's like, well, it's only at 60% capacity. It's costing you the same full amount. It's costing you all this, but instead you're actually losing money on this location. And this is the reason why you're losing it. You're losing money on this facility because of supply, because of a lack of this, a lack of that. So some more feedback, because sometimes you can look and it really doesn't give you the information, right? Like it'll tell you click here, click on one of these things, and it'll just have a little marker saying, there's a problem with electricity. It's like, well, okay, but is it affecting all my facilities? Is it affecting just one or two? Like how short am I? How is this really impacting me? So more feedback as to how things are getting affected. Number two, quick references or quick easiness. So for example, the abilities on the different hard modes. So we got easy, medium, hard. I added a couple extra ones and some extra options, like the ability to for people to learn the game a lot easier. So for example, have a tutorial, or even on easy mode, the ability to control your inflation a lot easier. Basically with a tip of a button. You literally can tell your minister, I want to do this. How do I do this? I want to lower my inflation. How do I lower my inflation? It will tell you, you currently have taxes set at 67%. Put them to blah blah percent. If you take the following steps, this will reduce your interest, your inflation. But just so you know, it's going to impact the following, and it'll tell you what it's going to do. Right now, you hit a button, you click it, and it gives you some general information that you can scroll kinda on. Like, for example, we'll go into our options here. Finance, blah blah blah. Improve GDP. So here you hover over it and it gives you some information. So it says, to improve GDP, we lower taxes, increase production, and defense spending. Benefits: higher GDP should and could improve domestic approval rating. Concerns: may lead to significant inflation. Okay. Well, is there anything there I can do when improving my GDP? Is there anything there I can do that will then help me long term to control my inflation? Well, you can click here theoretically, right? So it's also controlling your inflation, but you don't know. You're still not doing it on your own, right? Like basically here, it just lowers domestic markups, prevents our economy from getting too hot, and drastically increasing costs. Concerns: may decrease GDP, can and could hurt domestic approval rating. So here it kind of tells you generally what it does in the game, but it doesn't show you its overall effect. One thing I'd also like to do is be able to set my own members of government, each one having their own strengths and weaknesses. So, I could have someone that's, corrupt, and they take 2% off the top, but they're really, really good at controlling inflation, or they're really, really good at getting GDP up and keeping inflation low. Another person that's really, really good at getting taxes done, like getting tax income, but they're really, really bad at inflation, for example. So the ability to basically appoint your own cabinet during election times, being able to do speeches, being able to do announcements, travel the country. That would be something interesting to do, something fun to do. As a communist country, right? You should be able to do edicts, speeches, announcements, and part of that should affect your domestic approval rating, or military approval rating if you're also inclined to have a military dictatorship or theocracy or what have you. Um, the ability to have a single party democracy. So you have communism, then you have a single seat democracy, um, which would be kind of interesting to have. Um, the ability to start off as the rival faction within a country. So you start off as the rebels, as the extremists, and rise to power. That would be something interesting. The ability to control laws in your country. A little bit more. In Superpower 2, for example, and in Geopolitical Simulator, you can modify every law and change everything to what you think is your utopian society. You know, you don't want places to be open on Sundays. Close them. You don't want people to, sell liquor. Boom. You want to legalize marijuana. Boom. You want to have red light districts in all the major cities. Done. All these different things that are available in, for example, Geopolitical Simulator and all that stuff, I think would have really good things in here. Now, one of the other things I really want to mention that I can't stress enough. The one major thing that will make this game, if they don't add in anything else and just evolve it, is a bit of a new engine and 64-bit support. 64-bit support in my mind would probably be the biggest thing that could be available. If they could switch over to 64-bit support, then a lot of these problems people are having are going to go away just automatically. The game will actually have access to more memory. It'll process better, and people worrying about slower games and things like that, it's going to go away. Now, the game did come out a couple of years ago, so I don't expect anyone to come out for at least another year or two. So we'll see. One good thing about these guys is they kind of step up, and they'll announce when they're coming up with a new game when this one's done. As a developer, right, they have to be working on the next thing. So I mean, they're probably working on their next game. Just what it is going to be a good question. We'll see. We'll see what they're going to do. One of the few things I also like that they should institute is from Hearts of Iron, actually. So in Hearts of Iron, you can actually select massive armies and put them under the guise of a general, or the control of a general. You still issue those orders for those generals, but you tell the general what to do. Now here you can kind of give the AI control of your military. There's a level of autonomy. I don't like that because sometimes it doesn't look right, doesn't feel right. So what I would like to do is have the ability to put massive amounts of troops under a general, and have like an actual order of battle. Have the general organize those troops in proper fashion. Support support units and all that stuff, and supplies and all that stuff, and they can issue orders to them. Tell them, hey, what I want you to do is I want you to, it'll give you borders, right? So say, for example, playing as China, we can say, hey, I would like you to put in defensive positions, or defend the following country borders, and we can name all the countries that we want that specific general to work on. We can tell other generals to garrison troops within our own country, garrison troops within an occupied territory. Tell other generals, hey, or have them in charge of the Air Force. Be like, hey, just so you know, I want you to, prioritize the following abilities, and all that. And then what they can do too is they can feed back to you and look and say, okay, you've asked me to do the following, but this is the units I need. I need X amount of more infantry units, X amount of this unit, X amount of that unit. It'd also be really good if they could also review your units and say, hey, listen, we're really lacking an anti-helicopter, anti-air unit. We're good for high-altitude aircraft, we're good for medium-altitude aircraft, but when it comes to low-flying aircraft and helicopters, we're really short. At looking at all the things available to us, research-wise and construction-wise, the best for us to research would be blank. If there's nothing to research, then I won't say anything. I'll just say the best vehicle available to us is the following. And there you go. It'll give it to you, and there you go. I would like to have an option like that. It'd be really, really good. The ability to buy and sell land would be really good. A little bit more feedback, as I mentioned before. This would be really good. The 64-bit I mentioned would be really, really good. But also diplomacy. I'd like to say diplomacy would be worked out a little bit better and a little bit more, a bit more tactile, a bit more feedback. So, for example, if you go to war with someone right now, there's really not much to do, right? You basically go in, you fight them, you take them over, there you go. But what if you don't want all their territory? What if you only want a little bit? Well, the ability to diplo-annex territories, as I've said before, would be really, really good. The ability to claim peace with someone and say, hey, listen, here's the deal. I only wanted this territory. I could come in and I could wipe you the fuck out, but I've got what I want. So if you're happy, peace. Peace, good, we're good to go. The ability to influence countries diplomatically as well would be a lot better. Because right now, I mean, if I were giving a country tons of money, the people that country would automatically start liking you. At least the government will. People, who cares? But the government will. So the government will start doing offers. Now, the ability to back, behind the scenes offers too. Like having the U.S. kind of backdoor approach you, saying, "Hey, listen, we're not in good terms, but we're really not in good terms with your neighbor. We would really like you to go do the following for us. Hey, can we bring in some special forces units into your country so we can enter the other country?" Things like that, right? That would be good. Little backdoor deals, behind the scenes deals. Being able to do those clandestine operations on other countries. Having a proper UN in the game. So, for example, everyone has a member seat and actually have votes for things that actually affect everybody. A proper space race. Hell, have the ability on a button on a map to go to the moon, for God's sakes, and build units and have a moon war. Something like that would be kind of, I don't know. Then that kind of opens up a whole another kettle of fish that I think would be a little more science fiction-y than the game's trying to go right now with more realistic stuff. But yeah, so that's some of the stuff I want in the game, to be honest with you. Whether it be in the game or not, I don't know. But as I said, with the release, or the rumors of Superpower 3 coming out, we're gonna be kind of going into a few things. Now, mind you, that's one of the videos I'm going to be having over the next little bit. I'm actually going to go back to Superpower 2. I'm announcing that right now. Superpower 2 starts Monday. Forewarning. So there is a bug in the game that makes it completely unplayable after a certain amount of years. Or not years, but decades. Because pretty much every country has, too much of stuff. So we'll have to see how all that goes. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.